Welcome to Faith and Sustainability, a podcast where we look deeper into how our faith traditions inspire us to care for our common home. I'm your host, Leonard Robinson, and I'd like to introduce our new co-host, Kat Doyle.
Thanks so much, Leonard. I'm so happy to be a part of this new season and the podcast that's made possible from the generous support of Jamie Lanier, the Varlamov Family Foundation, Georgia Interfaith Power and Light, St. Francis Services, and Semco Atlanta. I cannot tell you, Leonard, how excited I am to be here, to be a part of the telling and the hearing of people's faith stories integrated with the work they do in sustainability.
Yeah, Kat, I agree. This podcast is a sounding board for those that want to grow in their faith and learn more about sustainability. It tells personal testimonies, accomplishments, and how people can combine the best of both worlds of faith and sustainability.
Okay, so enough about the podcast, Leonard. What's up today?
Well, I'd like people to know who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the show.
Well, as director of Justice and Peace Ministries and also overseeing the Laudato Si initiative here at the Archdiocese of Atlanta, I come here to tell a little bit about why I've moved into this type of work. And let's start with the fact that I'm a convert to the Catholic faith. I was an active Methodist person. I did a lot of work around my faith, but I met, fell in love with, and married a Catholic man. And from that, we decided that we wanted to raise our children in one faith, so I figured I'd better learn a little bit about the Catholic faith. The great thing that came out of that was something called Catholic social doctrine or Catholic social teaching, and it gave me the opportunity to articulate all those things I'd been feeling and living in my faith. And that's where the Catholic faith came from. And moving that into care for creation, care for the poor and vulnerable, making those two things come together as one. But I want to turn the tables now.
Okay.
We've spent a whole season hearing you talk to people about their stories, but we really don't know your story. So, Leonard, you are one of our Laudato Si sustainability contractors at the Archdiocese of Atlanta. Tell us a little bit about your faith journey.
Well, I accepted Christ in my life as a teenager. I always had this feeling there was something bigger than me. But then I got the relationship with Christ, and that kind of changed my life, and I wanted to just combine everything I did. I wanted to grow. So I started kind of like you. I started as a Presbyterian, then the Methodist, then the Baptist, Church of God in Christ.
Tried a few things, did you?
Tried a few. And hey, all of them were good. No bad experience, but I wanted to grow. And you hear this little voice in the back of your head, and you want to say, what is this? Where's a good spot for me where I can combine my two passions, my love of God and my love of the environment, that I can combine the two and don't have to separate the two? Well, the strangest thing happened. I happened to be in Sicily, and they were having a climate change workshop at the Vatican.
Okay.
And I said, wow, this is great. So I got myself invited, and I went. And
Wait, you crashed a Vatican party, Leonard?
Oh, yeah. They always say they're full, but it's like church. There's always good seats in the front. So I went to the front and was sitting next to the Secretary General of the United Nations. And we, got involved in the dialogue and everything. And I said, yes, that did it that's when I said, okay, I want to become a confirmed Catholic. Catholicism with the Catholic social teachings of social, economic, and ecological fit the paradigm of sustainability.
So let me think about what you've just said. This didn't happen yesterday. This happened a while ago.
Yes.
Okay. And since that time, how did you weave that experience at the Vatican into the real life world?
Well, when I was in business and government, I used to have to get the stakeholders to wrap their brains around sustainability. Well, I'm finding out in the faith-based world, we have to get the stakeholders to wrap their hearts around it. And my heart is in this. I was in this before it whether I got paid or not, because it just felt like this is the right thing to do. And again, as I got more engaged and more experienced, my faith in God grew. So I noticed that my personal belief was growing along with my profession, and that's what I've always wanted, Kat. I don't have to separate, and that was a challenge. I had to separate. This works for me.
So you've thought about this, you've decided you want to make it a part of your career, what you're doing for a job. Where did that start?
Oh, wow. This started, again, once I got that relationship with God. I go to children's church and I go to Sunday school, and certain scriptures come up, and the one that touched me is one about talents, how God gives everybody a talent, and some 10, some 1. And I said, well, I might not have many, but I want to use this. So it was a thing of, use me, Lord. What you know better. I can try to figure it out, or I can just submit. And they said that, that obedience is better than sacrifice in the Bible.
So where did God start using you?
Oh, he started using me before I knew I was being used. But I can give you some specific examples.
Perfect.
That fit. Years ago, when I worked at Tamco Steel, started this project. It was a gun melting project, and we called it Project Isaiah. From the Bible, it says they shall beat their swords into plowshares and spears into pruning hooks. We were taking confiscated firearms from the law enforcement agencies, melting them down, and make steel reinforcement bar. Weapons of destruction to tools of construction. So that program lasted. The name lasted a long time because I really feel because of the biblical context.
Was it hard getting them to accept a biblical name for a government program?
Well, it's the benefits of the program outweighed any concern that they had. It was more exciting getting caught up. Hey, we're getting steel. We're in the newspaper for positive things. So the name really didn't cause an issue with anybody.
As you started this program, were there people in other places in government that were kind of hearing what you were doing, and did that lead you into a new place?
Actually, it did. I know where you're going with this. I was sitting in my office and I get a call. I got a call from the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger's office, and he said, "Hey, would you like to work with us?
Would you like to be in a movie?"
Yeah. Well, I thought about that, but I said, okay, yeah, he needs a body double. Well, it was asking would I like to be with the California Environmental Protection Agency, and one of my accomplishments that I'm proud of is I worked for 4 California governors, 2 Democrat, 2 Republican, because everybody wants the same thing. But my life really changed because I got taken out of Southern California, put in Northern California, and this was a test of my faith because you know how you pray, be careful what you pray for?
Oh,
This is what I pray for, and it manifested itself, and I was just so excited, to work in the administration. And, of course, when it was time to swear and I wanted to swear in the Bible, they said, well, there's a separation of church and state. I said, not in my life. I said, is there something saying I can't? They said, well, no, we just, as a thing of practicality. I said, well, part of my practicality is I want to swear in on the Bible.
That is so super cool. I love the fact that you've worked for both sides of the aisle, the fact that both sides wanted to do something significant. So you spent some time in California government, but then I believe you made a journey across the U.S. Is that right?
That's right. I came out to Atlanta. My daughter invited me to Atlanta. She said, hey, Dad, why don't you come out to Atlanta for a couple of weeks? And that was about 8 years ago. Came out here, fell in love with it, and I wanted to get engaged. I said, okay, well, what can we do about sustainability out here? And I saw what the Archdiocese of Atlanta had been doing with their Laudato Si Action Plan. I'd heard about that when I was in Washington, D.C., and I went, oh, wow, I'm right where they did all this. How can I get engaged? And next thing I know, Kat, I think I met you at a Green Mass afterwards.
I believe that's true.
That's one of the first times we met.
We shared a meal together.
That's right, we did. We broke bread together. And you happened to mention that, hey, if I can get this done, I want to get sustainability coordinators for the Archdiocese. Wow. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. I was excited. As you know, I called every day, really wanted to get engaged with this. And I really liked the way that you handled it. You said, I can only hire 1, but I want 2. So you went and got 2 of us.
I never want to go small. I like to go big, Leonard. So one of the things I learned when we were chatting and looking at what type of work you would be doing here at the Archdiocese is that you had a radio background. Tell me a little little bit about that.
Right from the beginning, as a child, I stuttered. I used to admire people on radio and TV and preachers and everything, and I always wanted to be on the radio. Well, when I got to high school and I became tall and a good athlete, my confidence shot up, I stopped stuttering. So I had a show. My first show was the Leonard Robinson Show. The reason why I called it that is because I did it after work, and if I was tired, I didn't want to forget the name of the show. So we called it the Leonard Robinson Show. So somebody calls in and says, "Hey, are you an environmentalist?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "What do you think about the spotted owl and the bald eagle?" And I said, "Well, they taste like chicken." I was just trying to be funny. Well, my producer said, "That's it. We don't care if people like you. We want people to listen to you. We want to sign you up for another year." So it started there, and then I wanted to become more green, and I wanted to appeal to the people.
And I know where this is going. You took on a nickname. What is that nickname, Leonard?
My nickname is EnviroBro, the hardest working man in the environment. That's my alter ego. When I'm suited up and wearing green with the recycle sign on my chest, that's me.
I love it. So we take this EnviroBro personality, and here in the Archdiocese, we said, how can we bring people in? And lo and behold, there's this podcast. So tell me a little bit about what drew you to wanting to be a part of the podcast.
Well, you had mentioned, and I really hope you elaborate on this, that what we are doing needs to be a ministry. It's more like a ministry. Well, again, that gave me confirmation of, hey, I am doing the right thing. So I saw the work, read the action plan, and I wanted to take it to the next level. First, I thought radio, but I said, if the youth are truly are present, we're going to work with the youth, they listen to podcasts. Podcasts people can listen to. I had to learn about podcasts, but I said that is a good tool that we can do, because truly, if this is going to be a ministry, we need to have the ability to witness and get the communication out within the walls of the Archdiocese and beyond the walls of the Archdiocese.
That's true. And one of the coolest parts of that is that you have a lot of networking contacts. Tell us a little bit about how you network and the work that you do outside of the walls of the building.
I try to find commonalities with people. You go to conferences, you belong parts of organizations, there's social media. So I try to find like-minded people. And a lot of times we'll agree at the end point, but we don't agree on the process. So I say, hey, let's talk about the things we agree. Let's share our commonalities and celebrate our differences, because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. So go around finding like-minded people. And Kat, I've been in this field. My first job in environmental was 50 years ago in September.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do anything else, but I love what I do.
So who are some of the interesting organizations or people that you've met that we might not have heard of?
Well, I did work for Arnold Schwarzenegger,
I think we've heard of him.
the governor. I did work for him. I met with Robert Bullard. He's one of the architects of the environmental justice movement. I met with Charles Lee. He was the one that basically got it started. I was part of the National Environmental Justice Advisory Council. I chaired something called the Fish Consumption Work Group.
Wait a minute, the what?
The Fish Consumption Work Group. How people, how we've got to warn people, hey, it might not be good to eat fish here, but we just can't say stop, because it's a spiritual thing to some cultures for fishing and hunting and everything. So we had to balance that and balance needs. So taking care of the needs of everybody. And then the California Waste Association and Keep California Beautiful. Those were very, very impactful for me as far as meeting people, spreading the agenda, and going to higher heights.
So before we finish this up, I'd like you to maybe talk a little bit about Catholic social teaching and how it plays a part in the work that you do.
Well, the principles of Catholic social teaching are, again, sociological, economical, and ecological justice. In sustainability, people, planet, prosperity. There's no difference in the two. So again, in life, you get one or two things. You either get information or you get confirmation. That gave me, once I learned Catholic social teaching, that gave me the confirmation that I was on the right path and to continue the path. You know how you get these little signs, like it's not like you get a green light from God, but these little signs that come up say, hey, you're on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing. And that was that little whisper that I'd been listening to my whole life, telling me, stay the course.
I love that. I think that's great. And I appreciate the fact that you see this work you do as a ministry.
Yes.
I think that's an important part of your position here with us in the podcast and also as part of the Laudato Si initiative. To finish us up today, Leonard, is there one thing that you could share with us that our listeners might learn from or be able to emulate in this work that you do?
Okay, well, this is a small thing, but I found that the small things can make the big differences. You know how you put these dryer sheets in with your clothes? Well, when they come out, most people toss them. Well, I found out these are good for cleaning glasses, cleaning computer screens, cleaning cell phones, anything with glass because it absorbs oil anyway. So once they're used, not that this is going to be a big recycling thing, but it just kind of extends the life of something that we, get out of that throwaway. There's always something else that we can do with it. So that's what I do. Reuse those dryer sheets after you've used them. They're good for your glasses, good for your computer screen. They're good for your cell phone.
Leonard, I want to thank you for sharing all of this with our listeners today, for really opening up and making yourself vulnerable about how this has affected you from a faith and from a sustainability perspective.
Yeah, it just combines. It's just, again, it one integrates into the other.
Thank you again. We appreciate that.
Okay, well, hey, that was fun. Stay connected with us on social media and share your journey with the hashtag Faith and Sustainability.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast because we will look forward to meeting you next time
at the intersection of faith and sustainability.
The preceding podcast is a production of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Atlanta. Copyright 2024.